Parents' Rights in Education was conceived in 2009 and became a tax-deductible nonprofit in 2011. In May of 2019, PRE held its first soapbox event, America's Cultural Crisis. Should we stay or should we go? Author of Get Out Now was the keynote speaker. Mary Hassan's speech is featured on the PRE website. We decided to have another soapbox, May 2nd of the following year, 2020, featuring Walt Heyer, author of Trans Life Survivors. 7 weeks beforehand, Oregon Governor Kate Brown declared a state of emergency to control the spread of the China virus. During the following year, in response to repeated emergency shutdown restrictions, PRE rescheduled the event 4 times and changed the event venue 3. It was renamed the Northwest Safe Schools Summit, and more speakers were invited to present. The result was a day-long dive into the complex issues plaguing K-12 public schools. Because of the unrest and militant violent protests in Portland, Oregon, it was decided to move the location from the Portland airport to a venue in the suburbs. The venue owner was adamant PRE not advertise the exact location until 24 hours in advance, so as to avoid possible negative attention caused by detractors and protesters. We are thrilled to share these videos from the first Northwest Safe Schools Summit in the hopes you will be enlightened and empowered to take action. Please watch them in order, as there is a natural progression you won't want to miss. We are thankful for all of our partners and sponsors who helped make the summit possible, including Dave and Dealin Aquello, owners of Aquello Winery. BEST, Building Education for Students Together, an affiliate of FreedomWorks, is represented by Josiah Gaiter. Josiah has worked on grassroots campaigns across the country and organizes efforts to maximize the community's voice in everything from municipal to statewide elections. Oregonians for Fair Elections is represented by the founder, Janice Dysinger. She is president, and explained to us she circulated an initiative petition requiring voters' proof of citizenship for the 2016 and 2018 election cycle. Ray Hacke, Esquire, joined Pacific Justice Institute in 2017 and now resides in Salem, the capital of Oregon. Ray is an award-winning sportswriter, and that was before he became an attorney. He felt compelled to switch careers because he knew religious liberty was under attack. Western Liberty Network founder Richard Burke is with us today. And this is a 501c3 organization training limited government activists to be strong citizen advocates, campaign volunteers, and candidates for local nonpartisan office. And what would we do without KSLM Radio, who generously featured the summit, running radio ads 6 to 8 times daily? And talk show host Stacey Ann, who is an integral part of the summit planning. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors.
These folks have worked hard and long, and some have flown here to participate and be a part of this today, and they have excellent resources, and I'm excited to hear from them. Go ahead.
Awesome. Well, the good news is that if you made it through the pandemic, you survived a year worth of gaslighting from the teachers' unions, telling you that you were going to die, your children were going to die. And so when FreedomWorks, which is the organization that I'm with, FreedomWorks, and our program BEST, Building Education for Students Together, the problem we identified was we needed to figure out how we can implement school choice, how we can work with the content. We're talking about that, the anti-American rhetoric, all of it. How can we address that? And the answer is Parents are the only force large enough to possibly stand up to the teachers' unions, right? There's just no other alternative. It doesn't exist. Parents are the only source that is concerned and large enough to stand up to the hundreds of millions of dollars in the membership of the teachers' unions. And think about it this way. It's a totally corrupt bargain with the teachers' union. Where else do members have to pay in? Then they say, oh, well, we'll elect you if you do this. And then they negotiate with the people that they elected. Wait a minute, so you hire them and then you negotiate your own contract with them? Completely absurd. So what we're doing is building a coalition of parents and organizations like PRE to combat the teachers' unions all across the country. So, yeah, absolutely. And that starts with all of us. So FreedomWorks has about 6 million activists in a national reach. But what we need to do is partner with local organizations. So what we're doing is building coalitions. So for example, if somebody, Missy, you heard from her, we're building a coalition in Texas right now. If somebody says, Josiah, I want to run for school board in Texas, or we need to capture back DFW and get school choice, we need to go down to the State House in Texas. Missy is one of the groups. I also have a charter advocacy network outside of Austin, so we can all go down to the Capitol and fight for school choice together. So what we're doing is bringing our 6 million activists, your groups, and everything in between together and saying that we can achieve school choice, that we can get the curriculum on the right track, and that parents are the final authority. So if you want to homeschool, if you want to go to public school, if you want to go to private school, that is your choice. And by the way, we believe that your tax dollars should follow you there, and that will address the achievement income gap.
So you have a booth out front, and people can get signed up and get more information.
Absolutely. So you can go to our website, parentsknowbest.com, or you can just text the word BEST, B-E-S-T, to 41490. There's a basic form, and that will put you on our calendar and our email list so that we can send you what we're doing and so that we can connect you with the groups and the partners that we have, whether it's Rebecca, whether it's Suzanne's group. We can let you know what they're doing and what we're doing, whether it's candidate trainings, events, all of the above. We can connect you with all that, those two ways. So parentsknowbest.com, or just text the word BEST to 41490.
That's a great elevator speech. I told them they do an elevator speech. Good job. Woohoo, Janice. Who are you with?
Oregonians for Fair Elections.
And where are you based out of?
Out of Oregon here, out of Gresham.
Out of the Gresham area? Okay, how can people get involved with you?
Well, they can go to our website, Oregonians for Fair Elections. I have in the top left corner what you can do. It's updated weekly on how you can help affect the legislature, because we really need help. The Oregonians are the only ones that have any real push right now. If they would take their rightful step to hold their legislators accountable, we have a chance. But without you standing up, we're toast. And so I want you to go out to my booth out here at my table and pick up a flyer I have. It's a copy of what you can do this week. It's the bills that are on the table right now. Friday, we are going to have a public hearing on HB 2681, I believe it is. Yeah, 2681A. Which will basically get rid of our voter list maintenance, take the biggest part of that out. So we advocate at the legislature. That's one of the main things we do. I do training May 1st. I'm going to be helping people, ordinary citizens, learn about how our elections are, how to be an observer at our elections. And I'd like you to keep, on the bottom of this paper, I have my name and phone number. Please keep me in your contacts if you have any. From time to time, you might hear about something with a vote or something that you think I should hear about, so please keep me informed. And I want to give a plug for Absolute Interference, the movie from LindellTV.com. It's a great movie. So
you're Absolute, what is it? Absolute Interference, LindellTV.com. That's brand new, frankspeech.com, right? Yeah. Okay, and voter integrity is definitely an issue with this election coming up. Thank you so very much. All right. I'm excited to meet this individual because I've heard a lot about him in Oregon, and I've heard a lot about not only just in Oregon, but all around the U.S. and what he's doing for religious freedoms and liberty. Go ahead, Ray.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ray Hacke. I'm an attorney with the Pacific Justice Institute. I moved here from the Bay Area, in the San Francisco Bay Area, almost 3 years ago to open PJI's Oregon office. You probably heard our name a lot in the news last year when we took Kate Brown to court in Baker County and won. Fortunately, the Supreme Court of our state overturned that in a very poor decision. But, that's to be expected. But anyway, the thing about our organization is we are devoted to defending religious liberties and parental rights. Now, we do that in a variety of contexts, including public schools. We've had some success on that front. Back when I was in the Bay Area, I convinced the Cupertino Union School District, which is Cupertino's kind of down near San Jose. We convinced them not to adopt a comprehensive sex ed curriculum, and I've testified against such curricula here in Hillsborough, in fact. So, this was way back in October 2019, I think. So we do a lot of advocacy, a lot of different contexts, both, legislative and as well as litigation. Now, I was asked to come here today to talk about viable legal options in today's climate. Before I can talk about viable legal options, we need to talk about rights, okay? And I'll start with students' rights. Because, well, as far as I can tell, pretty much everybody in this room has graduated. I don't think any of us are. We're long past. I think most of us are long past high school. So it's the students, our kids. We're here for them. Okay, we want what's best for them. That's why we're here. So we need to start there. And the first thing I want to talk about is a case called Tinker v. Des Moines Independent School District. Now, this is a case that was decided in 1969, a little over 50 years ago, in Iowa, the reddest of red states, arguably. There were some kids who showed up to school wearing black armbands to protest the Vietnam War, and they got in trouble for it. The U.S. Supreme Court overturned that. And the key point in that decision, and I quote, is it says, students and teachers do not check their First Amendment rights at the schoolhouse gate. So, if a student wants to tell their friend about Jesus, they can. If an athlete wants to bow his or her head in prayer, or kneel in prayer, and even if they want to get a teammate to join them, they can. If they want to start a Christian club on campus, they can. And guess what? A lot of schools on campus, they have a gay-straight alliance or something to that effect. If they have that club, they can't allow the other club because that constitutes viewpoint discrimination. Okay? If a student wants to write about Jesus as their hero, if that's a school assignment, if they say write about your hero and they choose Jesus, as long as it's their choice, they can. So, but we run into a big problem that we run into, okay, because you've heard a lot about critical race theory, you've heard a lot about pro-LGBT ideology. They present that a lot of times in the form of diversity, inclusion, a safe, welcoming environment, bullying, suicide prevention. Okay, now I'm not at all suggesting that LGBT students deserve to be bullied. Absolutely not. Okay, they're deserving of dignity and compassion just like anyone else. Okay, I am not at all suggesting that diversity and inclusion are bad things. But, if we're talking about a truly safe, a truly welcoming environment, that has to include Christians. That has to include, okay, and I'll point you to another case. I'll point you to another case, one that's very more recent. Masterpiece Cake Shop, LLC versus Colorado Civil Rights Commission. Now, that case doesn't really have much to do with schools, but it's very applicable. Okay, and the reason it's very similar to a case we've had here in Oregon, Sweet Cakes by Melissa. In fact, the attorney on that case for Melissa's Cake Shop is here in this room. One of the reasons why it's applicable is because Justice Kennedy said, and I quote, that the government cannot presuppose the illegitimacy or pass judgment upon religious beliefs. It can't. So if your student wants to take a stand against transgender ideology or gay marriage or something in the classroom, if that's a topic of discussion, they can. Okay, and the teacher the teacher has to be neutral. The teacher can't be hostile to that point of view. Okay, and the teacher can't put that kid out there. It has to be a truly safe, inclusive environment, and that's what even Oregon law says. Okay, because Oregon has a law prohibiting discrimination in schools. One of the grounds on which that is prohibited is religion. Okay, and that includes Christians. It's got to apply across the board. And you, as parents, can hold schools accountable. Okay, now I'll also talk a little bit about parental rights here. Okay, one of the things that I can tell you is that school districts can restrict political expression in the classroom. I've gotten calls and emails from parents and other individuals in districts as far north as Oregon City and as far south as Ashland, saying, my kid's teacher's putting up Black Lives Matters poster in the classroom. My kid's teacher is displaying the LGBT pride flag. Okay, now I'm going to level with you because schools are promoting diversity and inclusion. Those would probably be upheld, but because, like I said, they cannot show hostility toward a student's religion. Okay, if that's what they're promoting, that's not allowed. Okay. In fact, one of the things I will point out, Obergefell v. Hodges, this is the case that made same-sex marriage legal nationwide. Obergefell v. Hodges said, this is Justice Kennedy, the same guy who wrote the Masterpiece Cake Shop case, said that many people who believe same-sex marriage to be wrong do so based on decent and honorable religious and philosophical premises. Decent and honorable. Think about that. The highest court in our country has declared that people who oppose these things, they're not necessarily homophobes, they're not necessarily transphobes, they're not bigots, they're not hate mongers. It showed respect toward their beliefs. Okay, and that's the whole point. If the school is going to show hostility, you have the ability to hold them accountable. Parental rights too. We're talking about. Some of you may be wondering about the school's consent to medical treatment. Okay, minors in this state, unfortunately, if they're 15 or older, they don't need parental consent. But guess what? If they're under 15, they do. And schools can't take them off campus. Now they can try, but because they have a duty to supervise that student, if heaven forbid they take a student off campus for something that you didn't consent to, and all of a sudden something goes wrong with that procedure, be it an abortion, be it transgender transitioning, whatever. If something goes wrong, guess what? They're liable. Yes, and you can hold them accountable for that. And another way you can hold them accountable, Oregon law gives you the right to review curricula. And that applies to all subjects, not just sex ed. You can review it. You can request a meeting with the principal and the teacher, and you can talk about what's being presented, how it's being presented, and you can hold them accountable for that. You have those rights, and if you walk outside those doors, right at the very end, on the right-hand side, there's a table with a big blue banner. We have brochures explaining what your rights are in these schools. We have brochures explaining. And these brochures contain opt-out forms. So if you want to opt your kid out of comprehensive sex ed, you can. Okay? And so the key there is to know so before you can do anything with regard to legal action, you have to know what your rights are. Now, legal action, one thing I will say about legal action, litigation, more often than not, is a last resort. And it should be, because school districts are given very, very broad discretion as to what they can do, and unless they're infringing on a school is infringing on a constitutional right, whether it be yours or your child's, unless the school district is discriminating against your child in some way, the courts are going to take a hands-off approach, and unfortunately. And it kills me to admit this, there are a lot of people who sympathize with the teachers' union's positions on the bench, especially here in Oregon. Okay, so I'm not saying that to discourage you. I'm just saying that to be real with you. Okay, that said, it is an option. Probably the best way if you want to take a legal action is well, first of all, you can review the curriculum. And if the school, now a lot of times school districts will like to play games. Okay, they'll make one copy available, and it'll only be available during school hours, presumably when you're working. Okay, but let's say you take some time off, an hour or two to go. Okay, they'll tell you you can't make photocopies, you can't take pictures with your cell phone. No, you can. Copyright law protects your right to do that. It's called fair use. You are using it for research. You are using it for fair comment and criticism. You have the right to take those pictures, and the school district, if the school district tells them you can't, tell them to call me. Okay, you have the right to review the curriculum. Every school in Oregon has what's called a 21st Century Schools Council. Get on that. Okay, you have input over what is taught there. Okay, run for the school board. If you feel that strongly, and you must because you're here, get on it. And if you don't feel like if your school board material, show up at every meeting. Be a thorn in their side. Be a pest. Every time they have open comment, raise the issue. Okay, I'll point you to, I'm a movie buff. I'll point you to the movie, The Shawshank Redemption. There's a scene in the movie where, Tim Robbins' character, he's writing to the state legislature saying, hey, we'd like to start a library here. They say, here's $250. We consider the matter closed. He's like, great, now I'll write 2 letters a week. So treat it like that. Okay, so, all right, my phone number is 503-917-4409. My business card is out there, so stop by my table. I'd love to talk to you on your way out. 503-917-4409.
Hi, everyone. My name is Richard Burke. I'm the Executive Director of Western Liberty Network. Now, if you're like me, you are tired of being on the defensive. We have been on the defensive so long that we're used to it. We consider it normal to be on the defensive. I reject that. I want to go on the offensive. Let's get conservatives elected to various boards and have the left come to us begging us not to do this or not to do that. Not the other way around. That's what Western Liberty Network is about. People like Ronald Reagan, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, take your pick. They can make big change for a moment, but it can be unwound by the next person. We've seen that over and over and over again. If you want enduring change, it has to come from the grassroots. And that's you. That is you. The grassroots activists are the most powerful people in this country because you have the ability to bring about enduring change if you just become familiar with your own power. Western Liberty Network is about that. We provide training to people who want to be candidates for office, particularly local office, school board, water board, park and rec, fire and rescue, mosquito control board, cemetery control board. Hey, don't laugh. They are all government things. Mike Neerman, current state representative, got his start at our 2011 conference. So we train people how to be candidates. And we also train people how to serve once they get into office without being subsumed by the Borg. We train people how to be effective citizen lobbyists, and we train people how to be effective campaign volunteers. Each one of you can do one of those things. Our training is free of charge. We offer live trainings on site. We also have online training. You can download materials. Some of them are up at our table. You can view the weekly Zoom trainings we do on different topics with guest trainers. And we have an annual conference in January where we have national speakers come in. It's very similar to this kind of an event. Now COVID's over or almost over. Maybe we can get large crowds again. But anyway, Western Liberty Network is about reweaving the fabric of our political culture, one thread at a time. It's going to be hard and it's going to be slow, but it absolutely will work. And I challenge every one of you to get involved with it in some way. The material's there. It's on site, westernlibertynetwork.org. That's westernlibertynetwork.org. Go to the training tab. Scroll down till you see something that you like. Phone number is there. It's 503-970-1876. That's 503-970-1876. My name is Richard Burke. I have cards out on the table. I've got some in my pocket. You can come out and avail yourself of whatever training materials you like. But for God's sake, if you're going to volunteer time, make sure that your time has an impact. And your time will have more of an impact if you're trained than if you're not trained. So get trained. Western Liberty Network can do that. And then apply what you learn wherever you want it to be. And by doing that, we will reweave the fabric of our political culture. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you for watching the Northwest Safe Schools Summit. As you can see, attendees were informed, inspired, and motivated to take action. We partnered with several groups, including Quella Winery, Oregonians for Fair Elections, Western Liberty Network, Pacific Justice Institute, Building Education for Students Together, and KSLM Radio. We are happy you decided to learn more about the issues in K-12 public schools today. It just makes sense. Activism can be enjoyable when you are surrounded with like-minded people. And together, we win. We invite you to visit our website, parentsrightsined.org. Take a look around. There are issues pages just for our state chapters, because state laws are different. Join us. Make your voice heard is always best when you are with others. Submit the online chapter form. You will also be added to our email list. We help with training, information, branding, and contacts. Like us on Facebook. For the most current news, follow us, comment, and of course, share. Join a pre-Facebook group in your state or local school district. Subscribe to the podcasts, Parents' Rights Now. These are not meant to be entertaining, but provide valuable information, catching you up on the issues quickly. Would you like to help us? Our mission is possible. We've created a great program equipping parents and citizens with the tools they need to be effective in their local school districts. Join the 12 by 12 Club, our small monthly giving program. All donations are important and appreciated, but we know that you have expenses and family obligations, especially if you're a parent. You can do the most by giving a small amount every month. Just $12 a month will go towards our operational expenses and allow PRE to host another summit. Parents' Rights in Education is a tax-deductible 501c3 organization. Donate online or send a check to the address shown here. We are engaged in a war for the hearts and minds of our children. The left has taken control of the K-12 government school bureaucracy, using local public schools for distribution centers to change the culture. Their ultimate goal is to annihilate the constitutional republic of the United States by dismantling the nuclear family and destroying the Christian church. Your contributions are more necessary now than they have ever been.